Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will discuss about the classification of skeletal muscles. You know that muscles are generally classified into skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles and smooth muscles. Today we will see the further classification of skeletal muscles. So skeletal muscles are classified on the basis of regional classification. Regional means nowadays you are studying the gross anatomy of upper limb. Till now you have studied the muscles of pectoral region, shoulder region and the back, and also you have started studying the muscles of arm. So the skeletal muscles are classified according to the region. So they are divided into the muscles of upper limb, and in upper limb the muscles of arm, the muscles of pectoral region, the muscles of back, the muscles of forearm, the muscles of hand, and then also divided into muscles of lower limb, muscles of head and neck, muscles of abdomen and pelvis, and muscles of thorax. So muscles are classified on the basis of color and contraction of the fibers. So skeletal muscle contains different fibers which allow for both rapid short-term contractions and slower repeatable long-term contractions due to some anatomical features. Now on the basis of this, the muscles are classified into red muscles, the muscles containing more red fibers. Now these muscle fibers, red fibers, they are rich in capillaries and they contain more myoglobin and mitochondria. Now this myoglobin is the molecule like the hemoglobin which binds oxygen. So it is present in the muscle fiber itself. So it binds lot of oxygen. And the fibers, they are of slow twitch variety, which makes red muscles able to contract slowly but for an extended amount of time without tiring out. So the muscles containing white fibers, white muscles, they are fast twitch fibers. They have lower myoglobin level and therefore lower oxygen content. So the blood supply is less and that's why they appear more white in color. That's why they are called white muscles. Now in contrast to the red fibers, they gain their energy anaerobically because they have low oxygen content. So they gain their energy anaerobically without oxygen and mainly from the glycogen. And due to breakdown of glycogen, lactic acid is produced, and as a result of this acid, the muscles, the pain nerve endings, they are stimulated, and so easy fatigability is there. Intermediate muscles, these are fast oxidative glycolytic fibers, means fast twitch fibers. They are fast twitch muscle fibers which have been converted via endurance training, and these fibers are slightly larger in diameter and have more blood supply and the mitochondria and more endurance than typical fast twitch fibers. So the intermediate muscles are those muscles which contain these intermediate type of fibers. So here you can see the examples of red muscle, the mixed muscle, that is the intermediate, and the white muscle. Here you can see the red muscle fibers. The white muscle have got white fibers and the intermediate muscle have got intermediate fibers. So the various types of muscle fibers differ from each other in function in their function as well. Because of their higher content of myoglobin and mitochondria, the red fibers are well suited for prolonged and steady contractions. Now here is shown a muscle which is known as erector spinae muscle. This is present at our back, and these muscles are responsible for maintenance of posture. Now you know that this muscle should be active throughout the day to maintain our posture. Our most of the time we are sitting or we are standing, so it is maintaining our posture. So these are the slow twitch red fibers. These muscles are made up of slow twitch red fibers. So rectus spinae muscle is the example of red muscle. So the example of the white muscles are the extraocular muscles of the eyeball. Here you can see the extraocular muscles of this is the eyeball, and these are the muscles which are attached to the eyeball, and these are known as extraocular muscles. Here are the muscles known as lumbricals. You can see these are the intrinsic muscles of the hand. Now these both muscles, they are fast twitch fibers, and they are used in rapid movements. They are able to contract more rapidly, but they also fatigue very quickly because of low content of the oxygen. So intermediate muscles, the rest of the muscles in the body, they are of intermediate variety. Assignment question. Now these are the MCQs. The red color of the skeletal muscle fiber is due to abundance of the lysosome, myoglobin, myofilaments, nucleus, or sarcoplasm. The skeletal muscle consisting predominantly of white fibers is erector spinae muscle, lumbricals, palmaris longus, pectoralis major, subclavius. The skeletal muscle consisting predominantly of red fibers includes the biceps brachii, extraocular muscles of the eyeball, lumbricals, rectus spinae muscle, gastrocnemius muscle. So the skeletal muscles can be classified on the basis of shape and the fiber architecture. Now this is based on general shape of the muscles and the predominant orientation of muscle fibers with respect to the direction of pull. Now, according to this classification, the muscles are classified into parallel arranged muscle fibers to line of pull, obliquely arranged muscle fibers to line of pull, spiral muscles, cruciate muscles, and circular muscles. So there are 5 types of muscles which have the number one have got parallel arranged muscle fibers to the line of pull. The second type contains the oblique arranged muscle fibers to the line of pull. Third variety is the has got the spiral fibers, while fourth variety are known as cruciate muscles, and fifth variety has got circular arrangement of muscle fibers. So these are known as circular muscles. So first variety is the muscles with fibers parallel to the line of pull. Now these muscles have great range of movement, but they are comparatively less. They have comparatively less power. Now here you can see an example of it. The muscle biceps brachii. Here you can see the fibers. They are running in parallel direction to one another. Now, most skeletal muscles in the body are parallel muscles. Variety of shapes, such as there are variety of shapes, but these parallel muscles, they contain variety of shapes, such as they can exist in the form of flat bands, but they are having parallel running fibers. They are spindle shaped, and some can have large protrusions in their middle, known as belly of the muscle. And as I have shown you the biceps brachii, these are known as fusiform. So parallel muscles can be further divided into fusiform and non-fusiform types based on their shape. So the examples of the muscles with fibers parallel to the line of pull are the number one is the fusiform muscles. In the fusiform muscle, the fibers are arranged nearly parallel to each other in the belly region but converge towards the proximal and distal attachments so that the muscle tapers at both ends and they appear as fusiform. So here is the example is the biceps brachii. So here you can see the fusiform appearance of the muscle. The second example is the strap-like muscles. Now the length of these muscles is much greater than their width, giving them a strap-like appearance. Now in most of such muscles, the muscle fibers run for the entire length of the muscle. For example, the sartorius muscle of thigh and infrahyoid muscles of the neck, that is the sternohyoid and sternothyroid. Here you can see the strap-like sartorius muscle. It is present in the anterior compartment of the leg. Now these are the infrahyoid muscles, means these muscles are located in the neck region. Sternohyoid and sternothyroid, here you can see that they are also strap-like. Now, however, the muscle fibers in this type of variety may run over shorter segments because there are transverse tendinous intersections at intervals. And now, the example of this is the rectus abdominis muscle of the anterior abdominal wall shown here. They are commonly known as the ab muscles. Now, here you can see that their fibers are shorter and they are intercepted by tendinous bands at intervals. So third is the quadrilateral muscles. Now in these parallel fibered muscles, the length is short, giving the muscle a flat quadrilateral appearance. Here you can see the example is the thyroid muscle of the larynx. The second variety is muscles with fibers oblique to the line of pull, and these muscles have greater power but relatively lesser range of movement, and they are subclassified into three groups: the triangular muscles, the pinnate muscles, and the radial muscles. So they have got greater power but relatively less range of movement. So the triangular muscles, a triangular muscle has a broad origin from which muscle fibers converge to a narrow restricted insertion. The example of these muscles are deltoid muscle, temporalis muscle, adductor longus muscle. So the example of the triangular muscles are the deltoid muscles and the temporalis muscle. You can see here the deltoid muscle. You are well aware of this muscle. Uh, it has got a broad origin and insertion is narrow. Another muscle known as temporalis muscle. This is present in the head region. You will study when you will go through the gross anatomy of the head and neck. Temporalis muscle, here you can see the origin is wide and insertion is narrow and giving it a triangular appearance. The pinnate muscles, as indicated by their name, pinnate means feather-like. These muscles have a structural resemblance to a feather because the muscle fibers are obliquely attached to a tendon. If the muscle fibers are attached to only one side of the tendon, the muscle is known as unipinnate muscle. So here you can see the muscle fibers, they are attached to one side of the tendon. Example of these unipinnate muscles are the peroneus tertius, flexor pollicis longus muscle, and the extensor digitorum muscle shown here. If the muscle fibers are attached on both sides of the centrally located tendon, the muscle is said to be bipinnate. So here you can see the tendon is central and the muscle fibers are attached from both sides. So this is bipinnate muscle and the example is the rectus femoris muscle, and dorsal interossei muscles of the hand and foot. The third example is multipinnate muscles. Now, some muscles contain a series of intramuscular tendinous septa which afford attachment to many pinnate masses lying side by side. Such muscles are called multipinnate muscles. An example is the deltoid muscle and of course the subscapularis muscle. So now the examples of the pinnate muscles. Here you can see the extensor digitorum muscle. This is present in lower limb in the leg region. Here you can see the tendon on one side and the fibers are attached only to one side of the tendon. So the example is of unipinnate is extensor digitorum longus. Now here again the bipinnate muscle, the rectus femoris muscle. This is the rectus femoris muscle. Here you can see the tendon is lying in the midline and the fibers are attached on both sides. So the deltoid muscle, the example of multipinnate muscles, various tendinous arches are present, septas are present, tendinous septas are present, and the fibers are attached on both sides. Now the radial muscles, in a radial muscle, the fibers originate from a wall of cylindrical osteofacial compartment and converge obliquely on a central tendon. So if this is a wall of osteofacial compartment, the tendon is lying in the midline. So the fibers are converging from all sides. So these are the radial muscles and they are also known as circumpinnate muscles. And example is the tibialis anterior muscle of the leg. So here is the picture of the tibialis anterior muscle lying in the leg. The fibers are arranged like that radially around a central tendon. So this is an example of the radial muscle. Now the spiral muscles, some muscles undergo a twist as they pass from their broader region to a narrow insertion. So these are known as spiral muscles. These are flat muscles. They undergo a twist as they pass from their broad region to a relatively narrow insertion. Such muscles are called spiral muscles. Example of these spiral muscles are the latissimus dorsi muscle and the sternocostal part of the pectoralis major muscle. Now I hope you have studied them and you are well acquainted with them. Another variety of spiral muscles consists of those muscles in which muscle belly spirals around a long bone. For example, the supinator muscle which spirals obliquely around the shaft of the radius bone. So here you can see the supinator muscle and it is spiraling around the radius bone. So it is an example of the spiral muscles. It is present in the forearm. You will study it soon. Now the cruciate muscles. These muscles consist of two planes of fibers arranged in different directions so that the fibers of the two planes cross each other. The muscle fibers of the two planes may also partially spiral around each other. The example of cruciate muscles are the masseter muscle and the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So here is shown the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So this is the cruciate example of cruciate muscles, the masseter muscle, which is the muscle of mastication and it is present in the face. So here you can see the spiraling fibers of the cruciate muscles. They are also spiraling on each other. So circular muscles, in these muscles the fibers are arranged in a circular pattern and they enclose a body fissure or orifice. Now such muscles are called circular muscles or sphincteral muscles. The orbicularis oculi muscle which encircles the orbital fissure, that is opening of the eye, and the orbicularis oculi muscle that surrounds the oral fissure are the examples of the this circular muscles. So here you can see the orbicularis oculi. They are the circularly arranged. They have circularly arranged muscle fibers, and they are surrounding the opening of the eye. Now this is the orbicularis oris muscle, which is surrounding the opening of the oral cavity, that is the mouth, and they have got circularly arranged muscle fibers. So the assignment question: what are the pinnate muscles? Give arrangements of fibers with examples of each type of pinnate muscles. Which kind of pinnate muscles have powerful contractions? So another assignment questions are regarding the MCQs. Which of the following muscles have parallel arranged fibers? Now you have to tell about the muscles which have the parallel arranged fibers. So rectus femoris, extensor digitorum longus, deltoid, sartorius or flexor pollicis longus. Number 2 is best example of bipinnate muscle is tibialis anterior, dorsal interossei, sternocleidomastoid, rectus femoris and deltoid. So fourth assignment question is you have to you have to tell what kind of pinnate muscles are these. So rectus femoris and the flexor pollicis longus. You have to name the muscle of each variety. For example, the quadrilateral muscle, the strap muscle with tendinous intersections, the fusiform muscles, the triangular muscle, the cruciate muscles, the spiral muscles, and then the various pinnate muscles: unipinnate, bipinnate, multipinnate, and the radial or circumpinnate muscles. You have to give the one example of each type. So, in this lecture, we have covered so far the classification of the skeletal muscle, and in this classification of skeletal muscle, we have done the classification according to the regions, classification according to the color of the fiber and the contraction of the fiber, and then the classification on the basis of the arrangement of fibers in the line of pull of the muscle. Now, the classification on the basis of the mode of conduction, mode of action, we will do in the coming lecture. Thank you.